So we are reading from 5th canto and 19th chapter. 7th canto, 15th chapter and 31st verse. 7, 15, 31.
Yes.
7, 15, 31. Deshe suchau same rajan.
Deshe shochu shamarajan.
Samsthapya sanamatmanaha.
Samstapya sanam atmanaha.
Sthiram sukham samam tasmin.
Stiram sukham samam tasmin.
Asitarjayo anga oma iti.
Ashritarjavanga omiti.
Yeah. Okay.
Deshe shucho shamarajan.
Rajan
Samstapaya sanam atmanaha. Stiram sukham samam tasmin.
Stiram sukham samam tasmin.
Ashritarjavanga omiti.
Rajanga omiti. Suchau samarajan. Samsthapaya atmanaha.
Stiram sukham samam tasmin. Ashritarjanga
omiti.
Shall I try?
Yeah, why not?
Deshe shuchau same rajan.
Deshe suchau same rajan.
Samsapi saram atmana.
Samsthapye sanam atmanaha.
Siram sukham samam tasmin.
Stiram sukham tasmin.
Asitar anga omati.
Ashritarjam anga om iti.
Oh, nice. Yeah, nicely. Okay. Word to word meaning? Deshe,
Deshe
in a place. Suchau,
socho,
very sacred.
very sacred.
Same.
Same.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I know. I do that all the time.
Same.
Same.
Level. Rajan. O king.
Okay.
Samsthapya.
Samstapya.
Placing. Asanam. On the seat. Atmanaha. One's self. Sthiram. Very steadily.
Very steady.
Very steady. Sukham. Comfortably. Samam. Equiposed. Tasmin. On that sitting place. Asita. One should sit down. Riju Angaha. The body perpendicularly straight. Om. The Vedic mantra Pranav. Iti. In this way. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. My dear king, in a sacred and holy place of pilgrimage, one should select a place in which to perform yoga. The place must be level, not too high or low. There one should sit comfortably, being steady and equiposed, keeping his body straight, and thus begin chanting the Vedic Pranav. Please repeat after me. My dear king, in a sacred and holy place of pilgrimage, one should select a place in which to perform yoga. The place must be level and not too high or low. There one should sit very comfortably, being steady and equipoised, keeping his body straight, and thus began chanting the Vedic Pranav. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Generally, the chanting of Om is recommended because in the beginning one cannot understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As stated in Srimad Bhagavatam 1.2.11, Vadanti tattva vidas tattva majnanam advayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavan iti shabdyate. Learned transcendentalists who know the absolute truth call this non-dual substance Brahman, Paramatma and Bhagavan. Unless one is fully convinced of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one has tendency to become an impersonalist yogi searching for the Supreme Lord within the core of his heart. Dhyana avasthita tatgatena manasa pashyantiyam yoginaha. Here the chanting of Omkar is recommended because in the beginning of transcendental realization, instead of chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, one may chant Omkar Pranav. There is no difference between Hare Krishna Mahamantra and Omkar because both of them are sound representations of Supreme Personality of Godhead. Pranavaha Sarva Vedeshu. In all Vedic literatures, the sound vibration Omkar is the beginning. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. The difference between chanting Omkar and chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra is that Hare Krishna mantra may be chanted without consideration of place or sitting arrangements recommended in Bhagavad Gita 6.11. Sucha udeshe pratisthapaya sthiram asanam atmana nati uchritam nati nicham chailajina kushottaram. To practice yoga, one should go to secluded place, should lay down kusha grass on the ground, then cover it with deer skin and a soft cloth. The seat should neither be too high nor too low, should be situated in a sacred place. The Hare Krishna Mahamantra may be chanted by anyone without consideration of place or how one sits. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has openly declared, Niyamita Smarnena Kahala. In chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, there is no particular injunctions regarding one's sitting place. The injunction Niyamita Smarnena Kahala includes Desh, Kal, Patra, place, time, individual. Therefore, anyone may chant Hare Krishna mantra without consideration of time, place, especially in this age, Kali Yuga. It is very difficult to find a suitable place according to recommendations of Bhagavad Gita. The Hare Krishna Mahamantra, however, may be chanted at any place, at any time, and this will bring the results very quickly. Even while chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, one may observe regulative principles. Thus, while sitting and chanting, one may keep his body straight, and this will help one in chanting process. Otherwise, one may feel sleepy. Prabhupada always comes to practical things. Om Ajnanaatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuramritam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gaurumani Pracharine Nirvishesh Shunyavadi Vaishyadesh Dharine Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Okay, so this is spoken by Narad Muni to Prahlad Maharaj, and as we know, Narad Muni to Bhakta Prahlad. And Narad Muni, as we have been discussing, he is giving instructions for a civilized human beings, and here he is specifically talking about how to perform yogic practices. Of course, the purport Prabhupada explains more, but the idea is Narad Muni is talking about some external, the place where should be, the environment which we should keep ourselves. And in all yogic practices, environment matters a lot. In fact, 50% of concentration depends on the environment you are in, the place you are in. For example, this temple is an environment to help us focus our mind. We are not so practiced that we can be anywhere and focus our mind. So temple is there is a facility. You come here. Just by coming here, your 50% job is done. You don't really get negative thoughts here. It's already something pure. So environment matters. That's why Narad Muni first says Deshe. So we should create an environment for our chanting. Whenever we chant, maybe the forest. Prabhupada says, even if no rules and regulations apply in Hare Krishna chanting, still one may practice rules and regulations. The last line. Otherwise, one may feel sleepy. The idea is, okay, first, we know Mahaprabhu has said, Hare Krishna mantra, there is no rules and regulations. Tatrarpita niyamate smarnena kala. Now, why there is no rules and regulations in chanting of holy names? Why is that? Because all Vedic mantras require rules and regulations. Because all Vedic mantras start with Om. And there are conditions of place, of time, specific times, of circumstances. For example, any Vedic mantras has to be chanted in a sacred place. That's required. And also in a place which is Suchi. Suchi means clean. You can't chant Vedic mantras in an unclean place. Clean here doesn't mean sweeping. Cleanliness in Vedic standard is very different. Cleanliness in Vedic standards means that the sound should be clean, the air should be clean, and the place should be clean. So generally in Vedic, if you go to temples in South India, Madhva Sampradaya, Sri Sampradaya, where they chant Vedic mantras, every morning the place should be clean with water, especially walls also. You see, water has to be there. So they clean there. And then the whole ether has to be cleaned. So they blow the conch shells in the morning all around the temple. Everywhere they blow. So the ether is cleaned. Of course, science doesn't accept ether, but we do. So ether is cleansed, and then you cleanse the air with that Google. You know Google that we put in yagya? So so they take all around the temple to clean that. And then you have to chant Vedic mantras, otherwise it softens. Deshe. And then Kal, a specific time is chosen according to the Panchang. There's a Panchang, there is a chart, astrological chart, according to the time. Sometimes you cannot chant Vedic mantras. For example, there is a particular, so every day there are some times which are demoniac.
Rahukal.
No, Rahuni, there's particular name for that, Gular Kal, I've forgotten. So that time is there, you cannot chant Vedic mantras. If you chant Vedic mantras at that time, the demons will get powerful. The demons will get powerful. They will get the power. So there's a time for that. And then circumstance. For example, if somebody dies in your family, you cannot chant Vedic mantras for that particular time. You're not allowed to do that. So there's a time, place, circumstance. Okay. But then there is no time, place, circumstance in chanting of Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. The question is why?
These are the names of the Lord.
So?
These are names of the Lord, there is no particular mantra, they are all names.
No, so why? That's the question. Why in the names of the Lord there is no rules regulations?
Because Haridas Thakur says.
Haridas Thakur we don't believe. No, Haridas Thakur now, no question.
The name itself is purifying.
There is a logic.
The name itself is purifying.
Okay, but the Vedic mantras are also purifying. We can't argue Vedic mantras do not purify. Even merely chanting of Vedic sound purifies. So what do you do with that? And that was a fight, by the way. It was a big fight at the time of Mahaprabhu. Brahmanas wanted to kill Narottam Das Thakur and Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur and even associates of Mahaprabhu, Uddharan Dutt Thakur. These were all associates of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who was saying you can chant Hare Krishna Maha Mantra without any time, place, circumstance. But the Brahmanas were saying, come on, this mantra is coming from scriptures, and scriptures state rules and regulations, and you say without this, they really wanted to kill them. Abhiram Thakur and all these people, but then they argued philosophically. So what argument they gave, that we should know. Otherwise somebody comes along and he says, what are you doing? You're crazy. Just like if you go in South India, if you chant Hare Krishna with shoes on, they really get mad at you. Really, they say, you're chanting mantra with shoes? And they'll really get mad. And some places, especially Udupi, Madhvas are very strict. So I was faced that, they told me. That time I was new, so I didn't have any logic. So then I removed my shoes. In the bus I removed my shoes. They were after me, So what's the point? What's the logic? Why name is beyond rules and regulations, and why not Vedic mantras? That's we have to understand. And Prabhupada brings that point here. But Narad Muni is of course advising time, place, circumstance, but then Prabhupada says for the holy names it's not like that. Okay, so the point is, there are two arguments for this too. The first is that if you say that there is time, place, circumstance in chanting of holy names, then what is holy name? Krishna himself. We are actually limiting Krishna in time and space. What is Krishna? Infinity. And we cannot mathematically put infinite into space and time. It's impossible. Even mathematically it's wrong what to say of spiritual reason. You cannot do that. Om Purnam Idam Purnam Adha. That's Purna. Purna cannot be put in any space and time and limitation. And if you try to put Krishna, the second reason is if you try to put Krishna under some space and time and limitations, that's an offense because Krishna is independent. That's our philosophy. So we are making Krishna dependent on time and place and circumstance. This is absolute offense because we are directly contradicting the definition of God. By definition, God is He is independent. Janmadyasyata annevad iteratascha abhigye swarat. That's the first mantra, definition of God. Who is God? Abhigye swarat. He is the King of Kings. He is swarat. He is independent of everything. Everything is dependent on Him. He is not dependent on anybody. So if you say that holy names are dependent on time, place, circumstance, then you are saying Krishna is dependent on time, place, circumstance, then actually you are becoming a Karmakandi. Karmakandi means we are putting God under some laws. You see, we are subjecting God to laws, and that's a straightforward offense. That's Karma Mimamsa. It's wrong. So that's why, you see the point? That's why we don't follow any rules, regulations. Because following rules and regulations in chanting of Hare Mantra, Hare Krishna Mantra is an offense. You see the point there? It's flipped. Not following rules and regulations in chanting of Vedic mantras is an offense. Following rules and regulations in chanting of Vedic mantras is an offense. That's interesting. So Mahaprabhu is not just saying, okay, no need to follow rules, regulations in chanting Hare Krishna mantra out of some practical considerations. It's not just because of practical considerations in this age. Prabhupada brings that point. The third argument, why there are no rules, regulations? Because nobody can follow. It's difficult. So there's a practical consideration, but there's a philosophical consideration also. We don't want to put holy names under rules and regulations. Mahaprabhu knew this. Otherwise, it's an offense. So that's very interesting, isn't it? Not following rules and regulations. That's required in Hare Krishna mantra because following is an offense. You subject Hare Krishna mantra. But at the same time, Prabhupada brings an interesting point. Prabhupada says, nevertheless, still one may observe rules and regulations. Still, why? Because rules and regulations help us to focus on the mantra. It is favorable to the chanting. So that is another concept which Mahaprabhu brought. Anukulasya sankalpa pratikulasya varjanam. He said, okay, there are no rules and regulations, but nevertheless you should follow because it is favorable. So if you have read philosophy, in philosophy there are two words, and that is necessary conditions. There is something necessary conditions, and then there is something sufficient conditions. You know this? Sufficient conditions, necessary conditions. So rules and regulations are not necessary, but they are sufficient. They are favorable. And that's a difference there. So just like, for example, if you go to Madhva Sampradaya, they will say Varnashram is required. Varnashrama system? Varnashrama system, do you understand? Social hierarchy? That's required in chanting of holy names. And they quote Bhagavatam, Varnashrama charvataha, that verse, Haritatoshanam karanam. Bhagavatam says, without following Varnashrama, without following social hierarchy, nobody can satisfy Hari. So then what to do? But then Ramanand Rai asked Mahaprabhu, should we follow Varnashrama or not? Mahaprabhu says, no, it is external. Mahaprabhu didn't say no. He said it is external. Now there's a difference. He said it's external. He said, okay, Varnashrama following is not required in chanting of holy names, because holy names are not subjected to anything. But nevertheless, we should follow. If we follow, it is good for us. It helps in focusing on holy names. You see the point? And this has to be understood very nicely, otherwise, if we don't understand, we slip from devotion to karma kanda, to different philosophy, to a wrong philosophy, if we don't really understand this concept of necessary and sufficient conditions, and the favorable and anukul and pratikul. So, having said that, this is what the Prabhupada in the last two lines is trying to bring this philosophical point. But having said that, this verse is talking about, okay, so we don't need anything, but nevertheless it's favorable. So let's talk from that angle. So Narad Muni is saying, okay, if you want to chant Hare Krishna nicely, then deshe. In the context of favorable I am talking, not necessary, then deshe. So you should choose a proper place, maybe temple, or maybe if you're in a house, if you're in your house, you should choose a place where you can remain fresh. I mean to say, if you chant in your bedroom, definitely you'll feel sleepy, because bedroom is full of tamagun. You're sleeping there. You slept there. You slept there for 6 hours, and the whole ether is full of mode of ignorance. So it's not that universe is affecting you. You are also affecting universe. It goes both ways. That's by the way Ayurveda. Yatha andam tatha pindam. You know this? You might be knowing. It's a very famous thing. Yatha andam tatha pindam. Andam means universe. Pindam means pind, body. So the rule of Ayurveda is universe affects you and you affect the universe back. And even science has proved that. And if you want a proof of this, you can go and read the theory of chaos theory, the butterfly effect. Go on Google and read that. So it is said, a butterfly flaps its wings in Japan, and because of that, there is a tsunami in America. That's how. Actually, we can laugh, but actually, it's reality. It is reality. Quantum effects are like that. There is something going on here, some small thing, and there is a big effect somewhere in the universe. That's by the way quantum theory, and it happens like that. Of course, it's an analogy, but that's whatever we do, there is an effect on universe. So because we are sleeping in bedroom for 6 hours, whole ether is full of mode of ignorance. So if you chant in that room, most likely you will feel sleepy and lazy. And that's when temple hall, it's not allowed to sleep, isn't it? Because if people are sleeping, then it all fills with mode of ignorance. So deshe means place. Deshe also means association, in what company you are, isn't it? So we should always select a company where there are people, good people, pure people. It is very easy to chant there. So okay, deshe. Then Narad Muni says Suchau. There are two words in Sanskrit, Suchi and Muchi. You know this Muchi? ISKCON? Yeah, ISKCON there is Muchi. Yeah. In Madhva Sampradaya they say. In Madhva Sampradaya they say muddy. Muddy. That's the word for Muchi. Muchi means unclean. In English, Muchi means unclean. Suchi means clean. So this is a word used, suchau. Narad Muni says you should select a clean, you should be externally clean and internally clean. That's bhaiye antara suchau. You know that verse? So externally clean means it is always good to, it is said in scriptures, it is always good to take bath because you become fresh. It is said in scriptures, one time bathing will give you freshness of 2 hours of sleeping. That's why, because that's why sometimes when Srila Prabhupada used to travel on flights, he couldn't sleep. He was very tired, so he used to take bath in the airport. Yeah, on the airport he goes inside, and then the servant is standing. Of course, you can't take bath in the bathroom, restroom. But he goes inside. His servant is standing. He removes his cloth, and he takes a mug, and he puts soap, and whole bathroom is full of. And the cleaner is coming. He's mad. What's this person doing? But Prabhupada didn't care. Because he knows one time bathing will give you 2 hours of freshness. Prabhupada can't afford to lose time. He has urgency. He has to establish his movement in just 10 years. He knew this. And he didn't have time. He didn't have time to go and take rest. So he did that actually. And once actually this person, airport cleaning, he became really mad. He saw it's all soap and what this person is doing. He came and I think Hamsadut Prabhu or somebody, Brahmanan, they are like big. They were standing. And he came and he was shouting, "What's happening? This old man, what is he doing?" And Brahmanan or Hamsadut, he just said, he was big, no? He's a very big, tall guy. And the sweeper is small. And he said, if you do something, one more voice and you're dead. And Prabhupada takes bath and he comes out. So that's interesting. So, by the way, it is said in Ayurveda, if you're tired, if you're very tired, take a bath. And then go to sleep, if you have to sleep. Don't sleep like that. Take a bath. Because if you go to sleep without bathing, then your ears might get disturbed. Ears in the body, so always take a bath. Just like you slept at 12 o'clock, you got up at 2 o'clock, now you slept less. So if you go and before taking food, take a bath, take food and then rest. So that's how it goes. So Suchau, that's cleanliness. That's very important. We have to choose a place which is mode of goodness. Very important. It is also said in scriptures that if you wear too many clothes, you will feel sleepy. So it is many times advised not to wear many clothes and chant. In fact, Bhaktivinoda Thakur didn't used to wear many layers of cloth. Of course, hair you have to wear if you're sitting outside. But if you're sitting inside, don't wear so many things. Sweater, shirt, this, cap. You're definitely sleeping. 100%. 100%. Just remove. Because the idea is, if your body is heating, it will go to sleep. Naturally. If any machine gets hot, what it does? Shuts down. That's all. If your machine gets hot, it will try to shut down. And the way to shut down is go to sleep. So that's why it's very important when you are chanting, your body should not be hot. Hot enough. Not really cold also. Then also it will shut down. So that you have to see how to do. So don't wear many clothes, it is advice. Don't wear maybe socks, cap. That's where heat is preserved, isn't it? So if you're inside, remove socks, remove cap, remove a jacket and chant nicely like that. These are some rules and regulations. Suchavu. So cleanliness is not just referred to cleanliness of the floor or walls. It's also cleanliness of the ether. Mode of ignorance should not be there. If that is there, then we are definitely going to sleep. So these are rules and regulations which help. Deshe shuchau samay rajan sansthape atmana asanam atmana. And Narad Muni advises to have some asanam. Now what do you mean by asanam? Can anybody tell me? Posture? Okay.
Comfortable seat.
Yeah, comfortable posture. Generally people, if you ask anybody asanam, they generally think, okay, Vajrasan or Padmasan. You see, that's what clicks in the mind. You have to sit straight with the two legs like that, or Vajrasana, something. But asanam is a very generic term. So you understand generic term? Generic term? Asanam is a very broad term. It's not specific term. But when you talk of asanam in yoga, yam, niyam, asanam, you know that? That's where asanam is very specific term. Which asana? But when asanam comes in Bhagavatam or any other scriptures, in devotional scriptures, it is a very generic term. Here asanam means to sit in a posture or any posture which is comfortable. Here asana means your mind should be sitting in the lotus feet of God. That's the meaning of asanam. It's not related to body. So any posture of body which helps you to make your mind sit in holy names at the lotus feet of God, that is asanam.
Whether it's even laying down.
Whether it's even lying down. Whether it's hanging upside down. It doesn't matter. In devotional scriptures and in Dharma Shastra, in devotional scriptures and in so what do we call Dharma Shastra? Religious scriptures. In religious scriptures, when this word asanam comes, it is a very broad term. Then we should define asanam as any posture which helps you to make your mind sit at lotus feet of God. But when this term comes in Yoga Shastra, then it is a very specific term. Then it says which asana. Because every word in Sanskrit has different meanings according to which scripture it is coming in. That's also important. And that's very common sense. I mean to say, we do all the time in our day-to-day life. Like for example, if you say force, the term force, if this term force comes in poems of Shakespeare, isn't it? It's a very different meaning. But if this term force comes in a physics book, it's a very different meaning. There is a specific meaning for force in physics. And if this term force comes in mathematics, that's a very different meaning altogether. And this term force comes in a philosophical book, it's a very different meaning. You getting my point? If this force comes in a love story, it's a very different meaning. I force you, that's a very different meaning. And if Hitler uses the term force, it's a very different meaning, isn't it? So the context defines the meaning of the term. So because this word is coming in this context, this is a devotional book. This is not yoga book. That is why the meaning of asanam is not a particular asanam, and Prabhupada defines any comfortable posture where your mind can sit on God. You see the point? That is why you see many people read Prabhupada books, scholars, and they say Prabhupada didn't translate properly, literally. This is asanam, and Prabhupada is saying comfortable seat. Srila Prabhupada should mention asana, isn't it? And they criticize him, but actually not. So then we have to go in this explanation. He is doing the right thing because he knows according to the book the meaning should change. So asanam. So any asana you take, and Vedanta Sutra says, what is the best asana? The sutra says, mano anukuli eva. Any posture which is favorable and helps you to chant nicely, that is asana. That's all. In that you sit. You can sit on chair, you can sit like this, you can lie down. One devotee in Prabhupada's time, he used to do horse riding and chant. and not just sitting, he used to stand on the horse. And Hare Krishna, and horse is running. And they complained to Prabhupada. And Prabhupada says, okay, let him chant. That's fine. I mean to say, because you can always say Prabhupada just spoke like that, okay, he didn't care. But at the same time, whatever way you chant, if you can fix your mind, it's fine. You do. But of course, that's really far out. You can't do all these crazy things. But the idea is, you have to fix your mind, that's all. Okay. Same Rajan Sansthape Asanam Atmanah. So the word says Sthiram. The Sthiram means your mind should be Sthira means your mind should be steady. When you are chanting, when you are doing any practice, when you are reading, or when you are doing anything. Now here, steady means what? Steady means what? Now steadiness comes from what? What is the source of steadiness of mind? Can you tell me?
Equanimity.
Balance.
No, what is the source of steadiness?
Determination.
Austerity.
Okay. Steadiness is determination. Yeah. The source of steadiness are two: austerities and knowledge.
Austerity and knowledge.
Yeah, knowledge. Prabhupada says in Gita, aham sarvasya prabhavo matta sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajante mam buddha bhava samanvita. And if you see word to word translation, Prabhupada translates bhava, the word bhava. The word bhava means what literally? Emotions. No, so it's not bhava. It means emotions. But Prabhupada translates not as emotions but as determination. You see there. Buddha bhava. Because if you have strong emotions, you are determined. The outcome of strong emotions is determination, isn't it? You can't say, I have so strong emotions to serve Krishna, but I can't serve him. Makes any sense? No. But then Prabhupada says, before bhava the word comes buddha. So Prabhupada says, bhava means determination, and determination comes from buddha. Buddha means knowledge. Knowledge. So sthiram, if you want to make your mind steady, you have to get knowledge. That is why it is said, if you want to chant any mantra with full focus, you need knowledge. You can't focus your mind just by capturing it. You will never be able to do it. You see, we try to do that, isn't it? We try to do that. Hare Krishna, bring back mind. How much you will do? You will become tired. No mantra gives any effect without knowledge. That is actually said in Vedanta Sutra. That is why it is said again and again. What was that? Abhyasat cha. It is said practice and practice again. What? Not the process, but taking knowledge. Take knowledge again and again. So you see the point. You can chant for 10 hours and you can chant for 1 hour. But if you chant for 10 hours without knowledge, that is nowhere near to chanting 1 hour with proper background of knowledge, because it will give you effect, that conception. So that's the meaning of sthiram. If we want to be determined, if we want to steady our mind in Krishna, we need knowledge. We need to prepare ourselves before we chant. At the time of chanting, you will not be able to do much. You got the point? We generally think, isn't it, we chant and we'll focus. We chant. No. You have to prepare yourself and then chant, and then it is going to work. Then your mind will be steady. It's not on that point. Isn't it? If you go to fight, do you train yourself while you are fighting? No, you'll die. You have to be trained and then you go. So chanting is a fight with Maya. We are fighting with illusion. It's there in our head. And you have to be prepared before when you enter this war. Prabhupada says, Prabhupada is the only Acharya who has used the word war in devotional scriptures. There's nobody. War, isn't it? Nobody uses this word war, fight, revolt. Prabhupada uses. Prabhupada says, chanting is declaration of war against Maya. This is in Gita, Prabhupada says that. And that's why when we are chanting, Maya is fully active because you're at war. She will not allow you to focus. You have to be prepared. And that's why some Bhaktivinoda Thakur sometimes recommend, if you're chanting and if your mind is going here and there, so he recommends that you chant 4 rounds, stop, read for 15 minutes, whatever inspires you, and then again chant 4 rounds. He used to do that, by the way, sometimes. Because sometimes even great people, their mind is disturbed. What to do? There's so many things going around you, isn't it? Actually, Prabhupada writes a letter to Tamal Krishna Maharaj or somebody. Prabhupada writes there, you see, my chanting is not going good. Prabhupada says, sometimes I am disturbed by management and I can't chant properly. Prabhupada speaks there. So, even Prabhupada. We are humans, and sometimes it happens like that. Sometimes Prabhupada was thinking of his wife. You know that? In Vrindavan he was sitting in the temple and the tears were in his eyes and he was thinking of his wife. He's a sannyasi, he's a word acharya. And he was saying, yeah, she was a good woman. I just not behaved properly with her. He was thinking of her. Sometimes this is happening. So, it is mind. It's not unusual. I mean to say, when you see Bhagavatam, Narad Muni, he's thinking of his past life, isn't it? As a maid servant. As a maid servant, this happened. But whatever these people think, liberated souls, they're absolutely convinced it's a dream. It's gone. They're not involved in that. But the memory is there. Memory is always there. Sometimes mind becomes, thoughts come. Even what to say Prabhupada, even Yamunacharya says, isn't it? When the thought of lust comes in my mind, I spit on it. The point is, he has a thought. Yamunacharya, of all people, the guru of Ramanuja, there's none greater than him. So the mind will think. You can't stop mind thinking. But you are not supposed to think what mind thinks. That's the point. There's a difference. We are not this mind. If mind thinks, and if we are convinced we are not this mind, let it think whatever it thinks. We have to do our duty. That's what is liberation all about. You have to disconnect yourself with mind. And that was a question, by the way. Kumaras, they asked Brahma, how to control this mind? And Brahma says, what's the problem? Kumara says, what's the problem? The mind is in this material world and the material world is in mind. They have become one. What is mind, by the way? Mind is a collection of thoughts. A subtle collection of thoughts of millions of lives. You cannot erase things in mind. You cannot do that. You cannot erase. There is no delete button, by the way, in our system. Once it's gone, it's gone.
Only Alzheimer.
Alzheimer's, yeah. That's a good thing. If you have Alzheimer's, then probably you can. Probably Alzheimer's, it goes in subconscious mind. It's there somewhere.
My question is, how do you disconnect?
Okay, I'll tell. I'll come to this point. So they asked Brahma, and Brahma said, well, if that's the problem, there's no solution, because you can't erase anything from your mind, and mind is everything is there in the mind. So what do you do with that? So they were confused, and then Hamsa avatar came. Krishna came in the form of Hamsa avatar, swan. God took the form of swan, he came, and he said, there are big discussions. And this Brahmaji asked, you see, we have this problem, how to control mind. Krishna says, this is a wrong question. He says, you are asking a wrong question. You cannot do it. But the method to control is, you should understand you are not this mind. That's all. You disconnect yourself with mind. Let it do whatever it wants. You do whatever you have to do. And then it will automatically slow down. It's going, And it's almost like children. Children are like that, isn't it? If this child, he will try to attract attention by weeping. Children are very cunning, by the way. They look innocent, but they know the trick. So in India, I have started a Gurukul. I have a Gurukul, by the way. In India, we have like 6-7 children, and we teach them. So there is 5-year-old kid, 6-year-old, one is 11, and we are dealing with them, and they really understand what we are doing, and then they start exploiting. Isn't it like that? They can understand. If I weep, this will happen. If I shout, this will happen. And they do that. So the best way to control them is don't care about them. They'll start weeping. If you don't put attention, they'll stop and start playing something else. Isn't it? It's like that. But if you give attention, they'll start weeping more. So mind is like a child. If you start giving attention, either to not control or control it, it will become more wild. So best is don't give attention. You should understand Indriyabhya param. What's that? What's that verse? Indriyabhya param mana manasastu para buddhir varasastu hi saha. Krishna says above senses is mind, above mind is intelligence, mind, intelligence, soul. That's why he's saying. And the example given is of a coconut. So actually Madhvacharya gives an example. If you say coconut, if coconut is a ripe coconut, and if you move it, there is no noise, because the coconut is stuck on the wall. So when the coconut is unripe, when it is green, you can just hear the sound of the liquid. But when it's brown, it becomes ripe. When you move, it becomes disconnected from inside. Have you seen coconut? It becomes disconnected from inside. And that example, liberated souls are like ripe coconut. Conditioned souls are like unripe coconut. We are stuck to a mind inside. And we can't differentiate between that. We can't even differentiate, we are not this body. What to say of mind? But liberated souls are totally disconnected from inside. Whatever happens to their body, they are not bothered. Whatever happens to their mind, they are not bothered at all. And that's why Bhagavatam says, when Parikshit is leaving his body, isn't it? At the end, if you read Bhagavatam right in the beginning, that snake is going to curse. The snake is going to curse Parikshit. And Sukadeva Goswami says almost in the end that Parikshit then dissolved his mind with the universal mind. He dissolved intelligence with universal intelligence. He dissolved ego. What's the meaning of dissolve? The meaning of dissolve is he starts disconnecting himself from all these things. Start disconnecting. And that how to do that? That will be taught to you by Krishna himself from within your heart. Guru cannot teach that. Some things Guru cannot teach. He can tell you how to do inside you. That's an inside work, isn't it? Disconnect yourself, that Krishna is going to teach. That is why in scriptures it is said you need two gurus. One is external guru, one is internal guru. Diksha and Shiksha guru and Chaitya guru. Prabhupada speaks, Chaitya guru, super soul. We all need guidance of super soul, because the inward journey, the guide is God. Nobody can do inward journey without the guidance of God. External journey, Guru can help and warn us. This is a problem, this is a problem. But inward journey, so there are two journeys and two gurus. That's all. One is external guru, one is internal guru. Tesham satayuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam dadami buddhi. What's that? Bhajatam priti purvakam. Dadami buddhi yogam tam, something like. Krishna says, I will light the lamp of knowledge from within. And that is why it is said, it is said in Christianity, interior castle. Interior castle. It is said, make a temple in your heart. Actually, so there was a saint, Saint Catherine in Christianity, Saint Catherine of Genoa, Europe. So she was a very good saint, but she wanted to build a church, but she didn't have money. So somehow she borrowed money and she made her church. But in most churches, there is also a first floor, you see. There is a staircase and you go up. And there you have like music and piano and people are sitting, and you've seen old churches, you go up. There is something like attic something, isn't it? And there person sits and he plays the music there. So the problem was they made an attic but there was no stair. They forgot to make a stair. And she was mad. She asked devotees, you made a temple but there's no stair to go up. What's happening? It's crazy. How we will play music for Christ? Without music, it makes no sense in my church. She was very mad, but they didn't have any money. So she was just sitting, and one person came out of nowhere from the desert, and she asked, who are you? He said, well, I am what I am. And he said, I need some rest. Okay, she told, okay, we are nuns, so you can take rest somewhere in the room. And then in the night when they were taking dinner, he said, well, they were asking, so what do you do? He said, I am a carpenter. And they were happy. Here's a carpenter. And they said, we need to make a stair. And so he said, yeah, I'll make it, no problem. And so he wanted to make a stair, but the problem was, because that was attic, if you make a straight stair like that, you can't make like that, isn't it? You have to make like this. But if you make like that, the church was very, very like narrow. So if you make a stair, the whole church is like there's no space, And so they were like worried. So he said, no problem, I'll make a spiral staircase. Spiral? Yeah. I'll make that. And they didn't hear about that. They say, you're a good person, So he was making the staircase, and this woman, Catherine, she was very tensed. So in the night he talks to her, and you know what he says? She says, I'm very tensed whether this staircase will get completed and my church will get completed or not. He says, you see, don't worry. I will make this staircase of your church, and you make a staircase in your heart to love of God. That you do, and this I'll do for you. And that is more important than this. And she got really, it opened her mind. And she understood the purpose of making the church. You see the point? The purpose of making a church and a temple and a community is to actually find a way in your heart to love of God. Otherwise it doesn't make any sense. These buildings, it should help us to attain love of God. That's the purpose, isn't it? And that's why Prabhupada said that. Somebody asked Prabhupada, why are you making temples? Prabhupada said, there's no need. I could have simply sat under the tree and chant. But Prabhupada said, but I'm making a temple so that many people can come and also chant and attain love of God. So that's what it helps us. It reminds us to work that we have to do a work in our heart. Actually, you know what? These all things remind us. Just like this Brahman Diksha, we have this thread. Oh, where's my thread? It's gone. Yeah. No, I got it. We have this Brahman thread. Now Prabhupada said this is not necessary. Absolutely not necessary to attain Krishna. This is a thread. But this is signifying Brahman initiation. You see Brahman? They asked, I think one Prabhupada was giving lecture in Juhu, and devotees were sitting there. And what happened was, his mic was like loose, so he was like trying to adjust, and people were running here there for screwdriver. So that devotee was sitting. He was Brahman initiated. Prabhupada said, give me the thread from the neck. He said, give me the thread. He said, Prabhupada, this is... Huh?
Who's Narayan?
Narayan, okay. And then he gave, and then Prabhupada said, this is the best use of Brahman thread in the service of God. So Bhaktisiddhanta used to say this, he said, I'm not giving you this thread to make you a Brahman, but I'm giving you this thread to remind you that you have to become a Brahman. Because nobody is a Brahman. You don't become Brahman by thread, you become Brahman by Brahminical qualities. This is a symbol. So similarly, these temples, this everything institution is there to remind us. This temple is to remind us that we have to make a temple in our heart. There's no purpose. This altar is to remind us that we have to make an altar in our heart. It doesn't. We can't always let Krishna stand outside us here. Doesn't help. And that is Jagannath Rath Yatra. And we know, Prabhupada explains why, Prabhupada says, why people are pulling the cart. They're trying to bring Jagannath in their heart. That's the point. So it's all this to remind us like that, so that it helps us in Krishna consciousness. So that was Saint Catherine of Genoa, and she understood. And then she was not anxious whether her church is getting completed, whether she gets staircase or not, because from that point she started her inward journey. She wanted to make that internal staircase. And then afterwards there was one saint, Saint Teresa of Avila. You've heard about her? They're famous good saints. She wrote a book, Interior Castle, and she wrote how when a person advances in spiritual life, slowly a castle is built up, various layers. It's exactly same copy of Madhurya Kadamini. I read Madhurya Kadamini. Madhurya Kadamini is also 7 showers, 7 chapters. That Saint Teresa also says, my castle has 7 floors. Absolutely same. And you can imagine, if you study this religion properly, all religions, inter-religious study, you see a person in India, Vishwanath, he writes a book, and there Saint Teresa writes a book, and they are not separated by space, time, also by time. Saint Teresa came like 800 years back. Vishwanath, he came just 500, 300 years back. And same concept, same thing. How is it possible? This means you can be in any religion, but if you're sincere, truth will be revealed to you. Truth is not a monopoly of anybody. Truth is truth. But having said that, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given the highest limit of truth. That's another thing. But a true Islam, true Muslim, true Christian, they can understand truth. The truth will be revealed to them. In fact, Saint Teresa, he says, so if you read her book, Interior Castle, it is famous. He said that the form of God was revealed to her. She is a Christian, by the way. And she said that the God is blue color. Can you imagine? And she says God flies on a bird and has a crown. That's all she could see in the vision. And we know more information. It's Vishnu. We know it's Vishnu. So many saints are like that. So that's a point here. I don't know where did I go, but the point we were talking about sthiram, steadiness of mind. That steadiness of mind comes with knowledge. All these saints who were very perfect and to a limit, they had knowledge. And what knowledge helps to do is, knowledge helps to detach ourselves from a mind. That's real control of mind. Control of mind is not to stop it. You can never stop mind. It's impossible. Can you make fire cold? No. It's a nature, isn't it? That's a philosophy. What is the nature of mind? Chanchalam. You cannot make it achanchal. You cannot do it. It's a nature of mind. What you can do is, you can actually divert its direction. That's our philosophy. So you have to disconnect from it. That's all. Once you disconnect, then you can engage it in whatever you want. If you don't disconnect, then you're flowing with it. So that is called sthiram. And then Narad Muni says sukham. Sukham, actually, that's another qualification. If we want to advance in yoga, Narad Muni says one qualification is sukham. Brahmbhuta prasanna atma. Krishna never enters a mind which is depressed, frustrated and anxious. Why he should come? Why he should come to disturb himself? You are disturbed and you are saying, Krishna come into my head. Why should I come? Guy, you're yourself depressed. Krishna doesn't like them. Krishna might help them, but he'll not enter their heart. Krishna enters a heart which is happy. Brahmbhuta prasannatma na shochati na kankshati, which is happy, prasannatma. Na shochati na kankshati, which is not anxious, neither present, neither future. Suhridam sarva bhutanam, which is not lamenting for oneself. The heart which actually laments for others, not for oneself. That kind of heart Krishna enters. And that is why it is our duty not to become depressed. It is our duty not to become anxious. It is our duty not to become disturbed. It is not an option, by the way. You can't say my mind is disturbed. If your mind is disturbed, of course, we are not practiced. But if we know that it is our duty not to become disturbed is one of the service to God. That's how we look at. It is one of the service to Krishna that I shall not become disturbed in any of the disturbing circumstances. And that is why there is a book, Nothing Shall Disturb You. There is a book, by the way, one of the great saints here. Nothing shall disturb me. Yeah.
About this, when you do seva with disturbed mind, and then, for example, like cooking, and then we offer to Krishna deity, will he accept that?
Yeah, he will accept. Yeah, of course, he will accept it, so that you get mercy, and your mind will learn something. But at the same time, he expects that you are not disturbed when you come, but he will not give you love of God. He will give you mercy to help you understand something. If you want love of God means you are getting Krishna in your heart. That no, because you are disturbed. I don't want to come there. That's why that is whole pastime of Gundicha Margin, by the way. Mahaprabhu cleansed he made it clean and cool. You see, two words they use. Cool in the sense of not getting disturbed. Mahaprabhu says, similarly, you have to make your mind clean and cool, and then Krishna comes. So what is that cool? No, we say in English, no? Be cool. It's the same thing. It's almost the same thing. Clean and cool. So yeah, it's a service not to become disturbed. You see, service is a big thing. Only chanting is not the service. Chanting is the best service, but that's not the only service. Srila Prabhupada says in one of his lecture, chanting is the best service. But as a devotee, we want to satisfy Krishna in all respects. As a devotee, we want to do all services. Although we are limited by body and time, that's one thing, but the desire is there, isn't it? We want to. So there are many services. There are something external services, internal services. External services, cooking, preaching, book distribution, management. Internal services, not to become disturbed. That's internal service. One of them. Internal service is to control your senses. Controlling senses is a method to glorify Krishna. It's not just prayers. When you control your senses, Krishna is glorified. You know how? That's said tapasya. Why? Because when you control senses, and if somebody meets you, what is going to say? He's going to say, how can you control senses? It is impossible, isn't it? That's the question. And then you say, because of my master Krishna. Only because of mercy of Krishna we can do that. It's impossible. So when we control senses, Krishna is glorified. Isn't it? People will ask, who is your master? Krishna. That's all. So control, that's internal service that we have to learn. Whole Bhagavad, this all virtues, we were talking virtues. Virtues. Why we want virtues? Not to become good, but to glorify God. Because nobody get any virtue without being connected to God. So if you are a virtuous man, Krishna will be glorified. Oh, he is good because he is connected to the Supreme God, and he is automatically glorified, isn't it? Yeah.
Krishna is the master.
Yeah, Mike. Yeah.
Krishna is the master. We are his servants, and sometimes we servants we do a lot of nonsense, and then the master sometimes have to put up with our behavior.
Yeah, you're right.
Krishna have that kind of put up,
Yeah, you're right. That's why Krishna says, don't defame me.
Don't what? Defame.
Defame me. Don't defame me by behaving like crazy nonsense. Every action of yours, I am accountable. Krishna is accountable. And he says, don't do anything nonsense. I am accountable for that. That's why we have to be very careful. Servant has to be very careful. Everything Krishna is accountable, because now we are his servants. And we can't do all these things. So that's why we have to be, it's a very sensitive relationship between us and God. It's a sensitive, love is always sensitive, isn't it? And we have to remember that he expects something from us. And we can't thwart, you understand thwart? Thwart is expectations. thought. No, I don't know. How do we say? There's another synonym for this. Okay, let me say. We have to live up to his expectations. He expects that as a servant. So that's why, if anything we do wrong, he will become sad. He becomes really sad that my children are doing like that, isn't it? Our parents will become sad, my children are doing like that.
Just like we represent Srila Prabhupada, our Guru.
Yeah,
Somebody finds fault, it's a bad name on our Guru. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Somebody finds fault in our behavior.
So devotion is not just to give pleasure to Krishna. Devotion is also to remind us we should not make him sad. It's both actions. Always remember Krishna, never to forget him. Do's and don'ts. That's why it goes. So we should not hurt him. It hurts him a lot when we go out of control, when we don't chant properly. But as a parent, he tolerates. That's how he does. He keeps us with him. That's his mercy. That's how devotee is.
I think I read one lecture from Radhanath Maharaj. He says Krishna is waiting for us to have that relationship with us. That's a unique relationship. So more we delay going back to Godhead, we are making Krishna suffer to enjoy the relationship.
Okay, yeah. It's the same thing, yeah.
Krishna is waiting to enjoy the relationship. Yes. So if you more we delay. Yeah. More we delay, means we are letting Krishna suffer to enjoy the relationship.
He suffers. Actually, this is in Brihad Bhagavatamrit.
I don't know.
Brihad Bhagavatamrit. That Gop Kumar is there. That boy.
Yeah.
And he has a journey. That boy has a journey to go to Golok, and he goes to Shiva Lok, Brahma Lok, and so many lokas. And then he goes back to Krishna. And you know what happens when he goes to Krishna? Krishna sees him and he comes and embraces him. And he starts weeping. And he says, I've been waiting for you since infinite lives. Where were you? And Gopkumar also wept, by the way. They were happy, but at the same time, they were so sad. So Krishna is actually waiting for us. These books are an invitation from Krishna.
Invitation.
Yeah, these are an invitation card. That's all. These are not books. He's calling us. And to go back, but to go back, we have to understand the sensitiveness of relationship with him. And that will come by following rules and regulations. That's the point of rules and regulations. Rules and regulations are not just fanatically putting some rules and regulations, suppression. No. Rules and regulations helps you to get that sensitivity of relationship. That's our idea. We don't follow rules and regulations like jnanis and yogis. Know this, know that. You will not be able to do anything. There's sensitivity. And that's why we come for Mangal Aarti. We are sensitive to his expectation. He expects us. Whether you are here, whether you are anywhere in the world, you have to do Mangal Aarti at that time. He expects us. That he wants to see us. And that gives him lots of pleasure. If we are not there, he becomes sad. I have come for them, but they are not there. What to do? So that's how it goes. Yeah.
That's why in Mayapur, a lot of devotees in Mayapur, a lot of devotees have experienced that like thousands of people take darshan early morning, but Krishna eyes follow everybody.
Krishna follows?
Yeah, with his eye follow. Oh, Krishna look at me. Oh, Krishna look at me.
Oh, like that? Like, oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, everyone talk like this.
Yeah. Everybody thinks deities. Yeah, it's like that. Yeah. Sometimes it's like that. It's like a hologram. Yeah. He wants to ask something. Yeah, Prabhu.
Thank you very much. Another brilliant class, inspiring, full of information, knowledge. Going back to the mind and detaching. There's the mind and then there's the intelligence.
Yeah.
So when the intelligence, one of the factors of the intelligence, as far as I understand, is that it discriminates, accepts and rejects. So when the mind starts to do things, then the intelligence, if it's strong,
it can
reject the. So in that sense, it's detaching from the mind. And where we get our intelligence is where we're getting the intelligence from Shastra, philosophy, and that's where the philosophy and knowledge comes
Yeah,
in.
you're right, yeah.
So, yeah, I just wanted to clarify that.
Yeah, actually you're right. This discrimination, the mind thinks so many things, but we have to discriminate what to think, what not to think. Basically, all the selfish things we have to filter out, and all the selfless actions and thoughts we have to keep. That's the whole essence. Now, that discrimination is the role of intelligence, isn't it? Intelligence. But this intelligence is actually not the material intelligence. This is a spiritual intelligence, because material intelligence do not have this capacity to differentiate between selfishness and selflessness, this illusion and Krishna. It can't do that. So it is spiritual intelligence. It is intelligence of soul which is doing this capacity function, and then it starts discriminating. It keeps the thoughts, and slowly it understands that this thing, mind, is not me. When you start discriminating, when you keep on doing, but the mind will not stop. It can't stop. It will keep on doing. And one day, by that intelligence, we can understand, well, I'm trying to discriminate mind and I'm trying to do that thing, but it is not possible. Leave it. That's all. Finish. Just suspend it. So a liberated soul, he just leaves the mind. And mind follows him rather than he following the mind. And that's a perfection. But initially we have to discriminate. Slowly, we understand we are not this, and we just let it go.
I think materially speaking, intelligence discriminates between right and wrong.
Yeah, you're right.
And what's right and what's wrong is dependent on our conditioning and usually conditioning.
Yeah, you're right.
Material.
You're right. Initially, we have to use material intelligence.
And
that's how it goes.
And of course, the example in the Shastra is the chariot, the driver holding the reins.
Yeah, that thing. Yeah. It is said by Bhaktivinoda Thakur, use intelligence to destroy intelligence. Yeah, that's the supreme intelligence. By intelligence, we should understand that even intelligence cannot help us to go beyond a limit. Leave your mind, leave your intelligence, leave everything. Situate yourself in your soul and connect to God. That's the perfection.
And that's ultimate intelligence.
Yeah, that's the ultimate intelligence. Yeah, that's what Bhaktivinoda Thakur says.
So Bhakti said, beat your mind with broom in the morning.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah. That thing is different. That thing is different. And that's why Bhaktivinoda Thakur says that a person who holds on to intelligence also, who becomes attached to his intelligence, he's like a bird with a weight.
Yeah, cannot fly.
Ultimately, you have to let loose. But that you can't do if you're not trained and if you have not properly used intelligence before. We can't understand that. So first we use intelligence, and then we understand, okay, fine. Just leave this also. And then you can transcend that. So mode of goodness, we use intelligence. And when we transcend, we even leave that. And we are beyond.
So, like a child's intelligence is the parents.
Yeah, right.
So,
Yeah, like that, yeah.
So the devotee's intelligence is the
scriptures. Yeah. And then when the child becomes adult, then he gets his own. When we become adult, then our spirit soul itself become intelligence. Okay, I don't need material intelligence for that. That's done. That's how it goes. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. One thing is, they say the hierarchy is like the senses, the intelligence, and the mind.
Mind intelligence.
But then when you actually apply to the gunas, they say that the tamaguna is the senses, and the intelligence is the rajaguna.
And mind is the mode of
mind
goodness.
is sattva.
Yeah.
So
I can
if this is hierarchy, why is this flip?
I can understand your point. Yeah. Actually, Sankhya philosophy says that, but it's a good question. But there's a flip because you see the point that manas is a product of mode of goodness. We know mind is mode of goodness. Why there is a flip? Because although hierarchically one is senses, mind and intelligence. Why it is like that? Because senses can be controlled by mind and mind can be controlled by proper intelligence. And intelligence can be controlled by a strong soul. From the perspective of control, intelligence is above. But from the perspective of conditioning, mind is above.
Mind is what?
Actually, intelligence is lower. From the perspective of conditioning, intelligence is lower. So we're talking about two perspectives here.
So in the unconditioned state, the mind is lesser, but in the conditioned state, the mind is higher.
Yeah.
It's stated in the Bhagavatam.
Yeah. You're right. Yeah, you're right. In the conditioned stage, mind is higher. Mind is more powerful.
Because then you can direct at least.
Yeah, mind is more powerful. Because mind is more powerful, Krishna suggests don't try to control mind first, because it's more powerful. You will get defeated. Try to work through intelligence and senses. That was the idea. If you try to encounter a powerful enemy, you can't do that. So, but in unconditioned state, when you're liberated, then that's a hierarchy. Then intelligence is higher. So the more we come in spiritual life, we start understanding the power of intelligence. And intelligence becomes higher and we start controlling mind. But for conditioned man, mind is higher. He can't even use his intelligence. He's going by reflexes. So that's how it goes there.
And then this divine intelligence that you're talking about, is that buddhi?
Which divine intelligence?
You're saying that there's an intelligence that is not us. This is beyond us.
Yeah, that is intelligence of soul.
I was just trying to think of the Sanskrit term for it. Would that be buddhi?
No, yeah. Intelligence of soul is called, material intelligence is called prakrit buddhi, and divine intelligence is called aprakrit buddhi. So after a certain time, when we do nice sadhana, Krishna will, actually our original intelligence is sleeping now. And mind, so when Krishna becomes happy, he will actually activate it. Activate?
Yeah.
He'll activate it. And when a soul's intelligence gets activated, then actually that is real devotion. We are not even in devotion now. We are somehow like figuring out with a material mind, intelligence. We are actually not doing devotion. We are trying to just do something. But when spiritual intelligence gets activated, that is the point when real devotion begins. That is the point of asakti and bhava. We are just behind. We are just like doing something. Some jugaad. You know jugaad in Hindi? I don't know.
What is gut feeling?
Huh?
What is gut feeling?
Gut feeling?
Yeah.
That what's that?
Intuition.
Intuition, not intuition.
Coming from super soul.
Yeah.
So that's come from super soul.
No, that is, I told you, gut feeling is three things.
No.
Either it is the voice of God,
Body.
or it is voice of mind, or it is voice of body.
Right.
And we have to see which voice it is. Voice of God is revelation, or the voice of mind is craving, vague.
Craving.
And voice of body, that's a physical need.
What?
Physical need. That's a gut feeling. It's confusing. We have to discriminate what is his voice. And to discriminate this, we need knowledge of scriptures. With knowledge of scriptures, we can understand which voice is which voice. And I give you one example of craving and physical need, how to discriminate.
Sometimes we're very confused. We don't know what to do. But let it just sleep over. That's what they say. Sleep over, and whatever you feel next day morning, it's like that gut feeling. That's always.
It always has to be, standard is scripture. It can't be any technique. No technique will work. Scripture.
Part of the problem is that karma is situated in the senses, mind, and intelligence.
What's that? Kama, yeah. Okay, so intelligence. But the point is, that's why we are not using our intelligence. We are going only by scriptural intelligence. But at the same time, when you are taking that, your intelligence interferes. So that's why we need association of some experienced person who is experienced in that scripture, and then he can tell exactly, you should do this and not do this. This is your mind, isn't it? So that's the role of association. After some time, it becomes very confusing, because Maya, actually, it can come in the form of Krishna. She can do anything. Actually. If we think we are out of Maya, we are in Maya. If we think we are out of illusion, we are in illusion, total illusion. Nobody is out of illusion. Even though we are in temple, we are anywhere, she can confuse us like this. Like this. She confused Shiva. Krishna, Shiva is a husband of illusion. Like he cannot be conquered by Maya. And Krishna said, well, okay, you are beyond illusion, okay, I'll show you what is Maya. And he confused him. So Krishna made another illusion which is more illusory than illusion. That is that pastime, by the way. That pastime is very, very subtle pastime. Mohini Roop, yeah. He made an illusion. So Krishna is showing that I can even create an illusion which is more illusory than illusion. So never be confident that you are out of illusion. Even if she can do anything with you, always pray to me. Otherwise you're gone. You are finished.
So Prabhupada used to pray all the time.
And that's what Prabhupada said, no, that I always pray. And you will fall down because you don't pray. And that's why it is very important to spend some time with Krishna. Some time of the day you should spend with him.
So,
except chanting, I mean to say. Chanting
is that Yogamaya or is that Krishna Mohini Murti?
It is something else. It is neither Yogamaya.
Because even Yogamaya, Krishna allows Yogamaya to overcome him.
No, but this is not Yogamaya, this is not Mahamaya. There is something else. Like, I mean, we know Yogamaya, Mahamaya. We just know two of them. But Krishna is infinite. We are not even informed about those things.
No, but I understand.
My
point is that even Krishna allows Yogamaya to influence him. So he becomes thinking that he's just friends with
He
loses his position that he's actually God.
So that is another illusion he's creating over himself. And that's how it goes. But you know, this whole pastime of Shiva and Mohini Murti, it's very complex because Krishna made an illusion which actually deluded Shiva. He made an illusion more powerful than illusion, and Shiva was deluded. But then if you read that pastime, Shiva, after some time, he could control himself. He realized, there's something wrong. And Krishna praised him. That actually it's commendable that you realized, in spite of the fact I am putting you in illusion. So Krishna, by this pastime, he showed how much powerful his illusion is, that even Shiva cannot tolerate. And he also glorified his devotion, that by devotional power he could realize that there is something wrong. So in a sense, he didn't let his devotee go down, that he didn't do that. He actually saved the prestige of the devotee, at the same time proved to us that nobody is immune to any illusion. He is doing so many actions. He is very sensitive to all these things. He doesn't let his devotees down. That way. So anyway, that's how it goes. Okay. Thank you very much to all of you. And thank you for... and perhaps